The Gastronomer's Gazette. Heavy lifting. In 1957, the average meat chicken in the USA weighed 905 grams. That's according to the US National Chicken Council, a trade association that claims its producers and processor members account for approximately 95% of the chicken meat produced in the United States. This is in stark contrast to everywhere else in the world, where 100% of chicken meat is produced by chickens. Be that as it may, you can't deny that US chicken producers have been astonishingly successful. Today, they are making more chicken meat than ever from a single chicken. Figures from the National Chicken Council show that the average weight of a US meat chicken has increased from 905 grams in 1957 to 4,202 grams by 2005. More than 4.5 times heavier. If the average American man had grown at the same speed as meat chickens, he'd have weighed close to 350 kilograms in 2005. Had he continued this growth rate, by the time of recording this episode in August 2023, the average American man would be a scales-torturing 447 kilograms, very close to 1,000 pounds. That's slightly heavier than a Caterham 7 sports car. The problem here is that the most weight ever lifted by a human being is 501 kilograms, just over 1,100 pounds. And that was done by Hafthor Julius Bjornsson, the world's strongest man. He is a mountain of a man. Some would say, the mountain. Unfortunately, according to science, most American men aren't the world's strongest man, a condition they share with nearly everybody else on Earth. So logic and gravity dictate that if people were allowed to grow as quickly as meat chickens, they'd eventually weigh more than they or anybody else would be able to lift. Consequently, they wouldn't be able to get themselves off the sofa to open the door for their next pizza delivery. As a result, they would starve to death. This, in turn, would lead to the extinction of the human race, causing many pizza companies to go out of business. Yet the average weight of an American male today isn't 447 kilograms. It's closer to 90.5 kilograms, which is 199.5 pounds. So what went wrong? Why couldn't the American male keep up with the American chicken? One theory, which you're probably hearing here for the first time, is that, realizing the extinction of the human race would hit their profits, pizza companies in the US took decisive action to get Americans, children especially, to eat healthier. For evidence of this, you only have to go back to 2011, when ready-made pizza manufacturers successfully lobbied the US Congress to have pizza recognised as a vegetable. Okay, that's oversimplifying it. It was actually the 2 tablespoons of tomato paste topping on pizza served in schools that were classified as a serving of vegetables. And Congress's action merely kept the status quo rather than actually changing anything. It blocked proposals to increase the amount of tomato paste used on school pizzas, possibly, but definitely not, out of concerns that the high sugar content of the paste was already storing up health problems for the future. Side note. A botanist will argue that tomato paste, regardless of the amount, cannot ever be considered a serving of vegetables, because tomatoes are fruits. However, the world stopped listening to botanists a long time ago, along with any other scientist with an understanding of nature and the environment. By contrast, celebrity chefs have everyone's ear. So the Gastronomer's Gazette favours the culinary classification of a tomato as a vegetable. But let's get back to our chickens, which have possibly increased even more in size during our pizza detour. The increasing bulk of meat chickens has resulted in serious health issues for them. For instance, their legs have been known to simply snap under the disproportionate weight of all the extra meat they're carrying. Also, it's not uncommon for a meat chicken to die from a heart attack. While their meat-producing capacity has increased dramatically since the 1950s, the development of their organs hasn't kept pace. Their little hearts simply can't keep up. For the sake of transparency, I should point out that by far the most common cause of death among meat chickens is visiting a meat processing plant. Statistically, all chickens eaten by humans die this way, when you allow for an appropriately generous margin of error to account for every other possible way they might die. What, if anything, can we learn from all of this? Well, for a start, never visit a meat processing plant. That goes for chickens as well as humans. We don't have any figures for human mortality rates at meat processing plants, but going off the figures for chickens, they are bloody dangerous places. Secondly, although the National Chicken Council's published weight figures don't go beyond 2005, we must assume meat chickens have continued to grow bigger. Worryingly, if they were to continue at their 1957 to 2005 growth rate, then at some point in the early 29th century, the average US meat chicken will have grown to weigh more than Mount Everest. If my maths are correct, which statistically speaking they absolutely are, which is to say they most certainly are not. Strangely, you won't find any of this mentioned on the website of the US National Chicken Council.